Sure that you know what to do. You're lost.
Up first, we have our first single that came out last year, Glamour Girls.
We met at music industry college.
I know that guy. Did you see the insufferable guy with the mohawk over there?
Yeah.
Don't film me.
I go to school with Bella. We go to university together, and it looked cool, so I came to one of the shows, and then I kept going because they were dope. It's rad.
The #1 Sacred Hearts fans
We are groupies,
in Australia, probably, I would say.
I love that they're goth. It's like the Hex Girls in real life.
Like harrowing and beautiful. It's really something. It's really touching.
How are you gonna mix 80s with the fucking 2022? Oh, Sacred Hearts.
There isn't usually this kind of like Sacred Hearts is special in that it's like a femme-fronted band. You don't see that a lot in Brisbane. And
Yeah, I think like young people in the Brisbane music scene are often men, and it's really empowering to see kind of like an old like femme presenting band like that. Yeah.
It's really good to see a completely female band out here. I love to see it. Great group of girls.
It's difficult because I feel like a lot of people's taste identifies itself with like what a lot of male-fronted bands are producing, which is sort of more like surf rock oriented music, which is just difficult for a lot of other people to break into, specifically if they have other influences, if they're women, non-binary, queer, trans in any respect, or people of colour. And I feel like what really needs to happen is just more groundswell support for genres and like acts that are different to the normal like four white guys on stage like playing guitar and making like sort of surf rock spin-offs to each other. And I wish that there were more sort of events or festivals that sort of call to attention bands that are breaking the norm, that are spotlighting different influences, and that are creating really interesting music.
The sexism is fucking shithouse. We've already seen the laws that have been passed. We've already seen the fucking sexist laws that have been passed. So, need I say less? We want to see a female or a gender non-binary funded band, and that's what we see with Sacred Hearts. So, whoa.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I got no other comments, so thank you. That was a beautiful interview.
I met June when she was a student beginning at Music Industry College about 2.5 years ago.
So the private school girl.
I was a private school girl.
Yeah, and we recovered. We survived, right? Yeah, we did. We so did.
I think where we really started to click was when I realised that she was very much interested in 80s alternative and in particular goth music. When I started to notice June feeling free to come to school, wearing what she wanted to wear. Eye makeup was looking very Susie Sue. I'd often ask her where she got her clothes. And there was one particular event that we had where June did my makeup when I was all in black. And I don't know, we just seemed to really connect on a musical level. And it was so lovely for me to have somebody in the school that I could talk about bands like, The Cure, Susie Sue, Slow Dive, all these bands that we both loved. So that I think music is such a great connector, no matter, what your age. I guess I was listening to some of these bands when I was June's age, and I think that also had a really lovely connection for me as well, because I knew what it was like to be 17, discovering the exact same bands at that time as well. So I don't know, we really connected on that level. But what I noticed over time is that June really found her voice and her identity, not only as a person, but in her music as well. She seemed to become so much more comfortable with who she was as a person and who she was in music. So that's a wonderful thing to witness as a teacher, particularly in the 2 years that we have students at MIC. She was really confident, I think, by the end of that time, and I was so proud of where she got to by the end of her time with us.
Hi everyone, if you guys could introduce yourselves and what instrument you play, that would be awesome.
I'm Josie and I play guitar.
I'm Bella and I'm on the bass.
I'm June and I do vocals, a bit of synth and rhythm guitar.
Cool. So how did you all meet and how did the band start?
We first met, Josie and I, through Catholic school, and we were both very passionate about music, but in that sense it was only really listening to music and going to concerts together. That's how it was for a while, until one time at the very end of 2020 we sat down, and I don't know how it came together, but we decided to play like the Velvet Underground or Lana Del Rey or something. And just kind of
I remember the first time you sang with me, we were both so nervous, and I remember you like locked yourself in a room and sang like Joy Division to me.
It's like girls at a sleepover. Yeah, I joined the band at the beginning of 2021. I've known these two lovely people for a very long time. After months of asking, I finally decided to play bass because I was a bit shy at the beginning. I was like not very confident in my skills, so I was very hesitant to join the band, but I finally did, and it's been a great year.
I'm ready to play some bangers. So in the meantime, let's listen to the most played artists on the station this week. This is Sacred Hearts with their track Vices. You're on 4ZZZ.
I guess I became aware of what June was doing musically probably in the last year of her time with us at MIC, and she was telling me about Sacred Hearts. I always loved the name of the band, and she was telling me what they were doing, and also telling me they were doing things on YouTube, I think, and they were getting a very strong following very early on, which I thought was amazing. Like the YouTube clips were really taking off, and they were being picked up by compilation lists, and Instagram followers were really starting to pick up. So I thought, wow, they've really tapped into something here. And then when Glamour Girls was recorded, I was very interested to hear it. It was just like being in a time machine, hearing those really authentic 80s alternative and what I call swampy sounds coming through the music, what they were picking up on. They've really tapped into that. They knew exactly who they were, knew exactly where they wanted to take it. It's clearly striking a chord with audiences, because what I saw at the Bearded Lady a month ago, that place was packed, and the frequency that they're playing now, I think, is testament to their fan base as well. So I don't know, they are filling a space in the Brisbane music scene that I think we've been really hungry for probably since 1987. I really miss seeing bands that do what Sacred Hearts do. So it's so nice to have that sound back.
I like that song personally because it's a bit dark and it's a bit desolate. It's depressing, but go off, I guess. Reminds me a bit of the film we're playing at the moment. It's just some scenes from Nosferatu. I believe that's 1922.
We love you, Sacred Hearts.
I love you too. This one is our upcoming single, Catholic Guilt. A little bit of the story is that my sibling is actually here in the audience, so she can testify for me. But we were raised quite strictly Catholic, praying before every meal, church on Sundays, church during school, pretty much every day.
Thank you, Lord, for this food!
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
That was something I didn't want to accept, and I knew that as a very young child sitting through that. And this song is a bit of repressed angst.
On earth as it is in heaven.
I hope you guys know that's definitely going in.
Something about being 6 years old and sitting in a room full of dying old people while singing hymns and praying to a sky man who never existed for me, and having all these oppressive beliefs thrust onto you, what you should and shouldn't do, how you should be, what it is to be a woman, what it is to be a devout follower. People like to cherry pick their Bible verses. You can't love a man as a man, but you also can't eat shellfish. It's definitely something that I speak out about quite a lot because I came from quite a conservative and Christian Catholic family. So it's become something that's a big part of me. And even though I didn't want it to, and now it's become part of the band.
Yeah, I think, like, even in spite of that, we really enjoy the Christian imagery,
And aesthetics.
It's beautiful. Like, I remember being in church, not really listening to anything, but I would be looking at everything that was on the walls, all the paintings, and the stories painted on the walls. And I think, yeah, that has really become a part of, like, the aesthetic of the band. Even in our songs, there's like the concept of like life, death, rebirth.
Yeah.
And that it definitely comes from that, and that all ties up in the band name.
Okay.
My name is Ty. I have seen the band maybe about 6 or 7 times now. I go to every show. I am possibly the official groupie, if that's a title. One of my favorite memories of being a part of the Sacred Hearts crew is probably having to sort of intervene when the sound is going on, having to get up stage and tune guitars, having to go over and be like, hey, Mr. Sound Guy, I don't think this level is right. Can we have a bit more of this? Can we have maybe this instead? It's always, I think it's always funny.
So you just did your performance at Now Is Now Festival. How did that go in general?
Well, we kind of function differently than a typical band these days. We don't have a drummer, and so we use our drum machine, and the technicalities and the technical differences that poses for us means that sound technicians often are a little bit unfamiliar in the way that we run, and having to negotiate between, you know, people who don't know exactly how we function, and it does pose a challenge because you're up on stage and everybody's looking at you as you sound
1 minute to
check.
go.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what I love about being able to make your own drums is you can really narrow in on if you want delay on a certain part of it, or you want reverb, how roomy you want the drums to be, and they're always, I find it very calming in the sense that there's nothing that can really go wrong with them apart from a DI not working. That's technology for you. But I do also love having the freedom of keeping the group to the small kind of three it is.
And we don't have to carry around a drum kit.
One of my favourite parts about Sacred Hearts is the very queer, very DIY sort of aesthetic and sound that they have going for them. I feel like it is a field of music that is very underrepresented, and it's hard to see something like that on the TV or on YouTube or floating around because it's very hard to get into. And I feel like it's very important that you can go to a show almost every week and see something like that and see it so well done.
So, what influence do you think female lead artists and bands have on you personally?
Personally for me, I'm so grateful to have these strong influences, like from Kate Bush being able to really fight for her own music, and instead of actually going the way a record label wanted her to go, she fought against that really hard, which women in music didn't really do before her.
Rich, ready to carry me over the cleavers, drunk in the bars, out of the realm of the orchestra, out of the realm of the orchestra.
And she really got her own grounds to create her own experimental and weird sounds. And then again, we're also very inspired by artists like Susie Sue and Polystyrene, as well as the Riot Girl movement.
The sexism in the Australian and especially in the Brisbane music community is absolutely rampant. I mean, you think you've gotten over like the kind of sexism that artists in like 40, 50 years ago had to face, but it's something that we encounter every time we play, every time we're on a lineup. It's just...
Yeah, even recently we found out someone who we'd been booked for shows a couple of times with them. We thought they were lovely people. Said that there are no good female or non-binary musicians, and we were
Wait,
just...
and they knew you personally?
Yeah. I think
what?
I think the importance of being, proud of your femininity, something that we really push to the forefront of our performances and our music, and I think that we embrace it, and because there isn't a lot of it, and
there really isn't.
There's a lack of like representation, definitely, and that comes with both female and having a queer identity as well.
Yeah, it's so important to have representation as well. I remember when I was in high school, I think Void had just put out like a single. And they influenced me so much, I think. Like, they were probably one of the reasons that I wanted to start a band. It's just like these girls in Brisbane like are doing it, so yeah, it made me feel like I can do it too.
Diversity wise, there are a couple of female femme-fronted bands in Brisbane, but they really are in the minority. And then again, if they are femme-fronted, you look at the members and it's all men after that. So you also realize a lot of the time they'll get booked, especially just because there are men in that band. And one thing Bella was saying with lineups, we tend to open a lot, which is that's the spot where no one comes in to see you. And then another thing we've noticed is that we've been on a couple lineups now where we're a bit of an anomaly, as in the sense we're the odd ones out.
It often feels like it's checking a diversity box. For me, there's this really wonderful Australian band called Camp Cope, and they have this song called The Opener. And it really discusses how female bands are so often just used as a quota and used as like a way to show representation when really there's no appreciation for the actual skill.
It's important to use our platform as well. We try to work with other female non-binary artists as well, like our photographers and the artists we got to design our logo as well. Yeah, I think it's something like less than 2% of producers are women actually, which it's just
that is
like
ridiculous.
A terrible statistic that we would love to change.
This is really interesting because I was just talking on Triple Z last night with Kelly Lloyd about this very topic and how important it is for young women who are forming their look, their sound, their identity, to be able to see other women doing that. And it was really important for me in the mid to late 80s to see women getting away from the stereotype of just being out front as the singer and being on the drums, being on guitar, being on bass. Because when I saw that, I thought, yes, I can do that. These women have shown me the way to do that. Women like Lindy Morrison of the Go-Betweens encouraged me or inspired me to go and learn the drums. And I think the more we see women on stage, and three really strong women in Sacred Hearts in particular, it inspires an entire new wave of young women coming up to pick up a guitar, learn the drums, learn whatever it is they want to do, and go after what they were really wanting to do. And there really should be no barriers to young women or women of any age to be getting up there and doing that as well. But no, so I'm delighted that they're three really strong women doing exactly what they want to do.
So what do you think will be next for the band?
We've got some singles on the way and we're going to get started working on an EP. After the EP, we may or may not be in contact with an international record label, and then hopefully opening for some bigger bands at the end of this year.
Hopefully playing a headline show of our own as well.
Yeah.
We'd love to do a bit of a national tour, go see Sydney and Melbourne and some other cities, play for some new crowds.
Yeah. After this EP, I think that will help kind of get what we are out to people and those who are interested get on board. But after the EP, an album would be great.
At the moment, we love having fun, getting up on stage and performing, and the real theatricality of that, we just adore it. And I think we'd just like to be remembered as people who just love music and love playing music, and that's the important thing. That's the thing that we all love and are super passionate about. I don't know if it's
say I'd want the band to be remembered as something that helped diversify the Brisbane music scene in the sense not just because we're queer and women and non-binary, but musically.
We are the kind of people who wouldn't have always got the chance to step up onto that stage, and I think now we do have the chance. We just want to bring as many people up with us. Yeah.
What I want the band to be remembered, I hate saying that because it's not dead yet, but how I want it to be remembered is making space for women, non-binary and queer people in the music scene, and maybe one day even inspiring other people to make music, just to get out there and go for it, kind of whether or not you're classically trained, like none of us are, whether or not you're really passionate. Actually, I don't know why I said that. I retract that statement. Be passionate or die. I'm speaking out of my ass. Oh my god.
Whenever you guys are ready, just go. Pretend that you guys have just finished the interview.
Wow.
Oh,
you know what? I hate pretentious film students. They are so
it's
annoying.
so annoying. Like,
I totally hate them.
Do you feel like this? Sort of
Like, I studied film and I was so embarrassed. I regret it.
I was glad I was a
take
visual
it
art
back
student.
100%. To be honest, it's like top 10 things in life I regret. Like, it's like you're telling me Wes Anderson, more like Wes Schmanderson. Fucking Quentin more like
Tarantino.
Quentin Fiorentino.
I don't even know what his name is now.
Do you
want us to get up and like
Okay.
I think, are we just, Elaine, are we just like...
Well, I kind of just wanted to see where that went, but